A Liberty family is being remembered this afternoon after they died during that flooding. John Burgess, his wife Julia, and their two young sons, they were killed while camping along the Guadalupe. Their funeral was held this morning at St. John the Divine Episcopal Church here in Houston. The Burgesses are survived by their daughter, Jenna Lacey, who survived the flood. A trust is being set up at Amity Bank with donations going toward Jenna's future. Pretty sad situation there. John Burgess was the younger brother of country singer Pat Green. Green held a benefit concert last night on his YouTube page featuring artists like Miranda Lambert and John Party. A celebration of life is also going to be happening tonight for Reese Manchaca. She was visiting Hunt with friends when they were swept away. A procession escorted her body home to our area. That was earlier last week. And tonight's ceremony is at 6:30 at the Lone Star Convention Center in Conroe. It's open to the public. A Texas casket maker. He is offering his services for free to some of these families of these floods. Trey Gainham, he's the owner of Soul Shine Industries in Edna. Look at that. His custom casket company is now working to provide custom caskets and urns to flood victims' families at no cost to them. And it comes after several families reached out to him for help to lay their loved ones to rest. He says it's the least he can do to help families try to heal from all this devastation. In our sister
Tell me a
station,
little bit
Fox.
about the requests that you are getting in from families and those impacted and have victims who were tragically killed in this historic flooding event.
This event that we're doing right now has been a little bit overwhelming in a sense, and we've done quite a few. We've done the Uvalde shooting, the Sutherland Springs shooting, some of the Vegas victims, and this is like none of the ones we've ever helped out with before. So many phone calls I've had. It gets very emotional. The emotional drain from this is actually more so than the actual work. Um, Talking to the families that haven't found their loved ones yet, that are still missing, is very hard. We have a lot of urns and a lot of caskets still to do, pending they're finding their loved ones. And there's 100 and I can't even remember how many, 120-ish still missing. And a lot of the families that we've talked to, different situation than normal. They want casket, but they've lost multiple family members. So what they want to do is do cremation. So we're doing urns and caskets. Um, Say one of the families that we're doing right now, we're doing one casket for the father, and all the children are going to be cremated, and everybody's put into the casket and buried as one instead of multiple burials. So this is something that is a little different.
And I can hear the emotion in your voice there. It sounds like, you're fighting back tears a little bit. I can just imagine, the overwhelming emotional toll that this is taking on you all. What, keeps you moving forward? What keeps you, saying yes and, wanting to continue to help?
You know, when we did the first kids casket that we've done, it changed everything that we ever even thought. It's not about painting a casket, and it never has been with me. It was about representing someone's life. But to see how it helps the families is why we do this and why we move forward. My purpose in life is not about me, it's about how can I help you. And that's the way I live.
And tell me a little bit about your work here. You just said right there, you're painting caskets. You're trying to represent somebody's life as they are being buried. And so, tell me a little bit about the work and what you do.
So we do full customization on caskets and urns. And what we do is we try to represent what their family member loved. And like one that we're working on right now, he loved horses. Um, So we're doing the horse theme. We get pictures, we incorporate them into the casket. Um, Pictures of the family member because they can't have an open casket, and we actually put that on the casket. And it's something that when you look at it, our caskets tell their story, but we also start the healing process. And that is the number one thing that I think that helps the families, and talking to them, they tell me that, it's like the first time that I remember that I knew this was the right thing was probably I don't know, the first casket did, but like to really feel it, I did a casket for some friends of ours, and their dad played in a band, and he had his favorite guitar. Well, I duplicated on top of the casket, put the strings on it, all kinds of stuff. And they sat there for 3 hours in my shop talking about their dad and when he played at certain events and with certain people, and just they were reminiscing about all the good things that they could remember. And I'm like, this is why I do what I do.
And you mentioned it a little in there, but I mean, what have you heard from the families so far who, specifically the victims in the flooding that you have helped the caskets? What have you heard from them when they receive it?
It just gives them hope. There's so much, and we become part of the families when we do this, and I get to know the families. I get to know their quirks, their unique um personalities. It's like it's unexplainable. um I am so blessed to be able to do this for them, and that's what keeps me going, because it helps the families. That, I mean, I don't even know how else to say that, and God's given me this gift to pay forward, and that's what I'm doing.
It's really cool. So the University of Houston, they're doing their part to help folks after this Hill Country flood. Nate Griffin, he was on the campus where the athletics department's collecting a lot of much needed supplies there.
What they're doing at the University of Houston in regards to what happened with the flood victims is big. And of course, Todd Whitting, head baseball coach here at the University of Houston, helping out in the effort. Talk
Absolutely.
about that, Todd.
Well, I'm glad to have my guys here. These guys are here, volunteered to come out to help. And, the university community, the city of Houston, these efforts are led by our athletic department. Eddie Nunez, our AD. But we're just glad to come out and do what we can to help, with that horrible tragedy over in Central Texas.
Let's send them out then. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, boys, go round it up.
There you go. So when you talk about this and people dropping off goods,
Right.
What can they drop off?
Well, non-perishable food items, bottled waters, toiletry, household items, cleaning supplies, all those kind of things is definitely what they need right now. Batteries is one that's on our list. But if you go to any of our social media accounts, my social media on Twitter, any of our university accounts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they have a list of what we're looking for. And the details about coming out today. We'll be here my guys are going to be here till 11 o'clock. We have other student athletes coming out, different shifts. We'll be here till 5 o'clock this afternoon at the club entrance of TDCU football stadium.
Yeah, football, basketball, volleyball. Is basketball coming out? I know basketball's in practice right now.
One of these days they've been out here, yeah. So every sport's kind of pitched in. They have different blocks of time they're coming out.
I do know football is coming out later today,
Right.
probably volleyball, and the rest of the sports will get involved. How big is this for these young men to actually be involved and see this?
Well, it's huge, to give back, and these guys, they volunteered to come out here. These are the few of the guys that I have in town that are training for the summertime, and we sent out a text that day like, hey man, all hands on deck. We need to get out here and help these people out, and we've had a good flow of folks coming in. That locker room back there at TDCU is full of stuff to send over to Central Texas. So I'm just proud of these guys for showing up, and it wasn't hard to talk them into it. They're good kids from good families. They love the University of Houston, the city of Houston, and they'll do what they can to help.
Spoke with some of them, and they seem to know some of the families that at least attended the camp.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of these guys that, most of these kids here right now are all from Houston, and, they have, or from Texas, so they have connections. I think that goes for all of us that, really, the more you talk to people about it and start, hearing stories, you have friends and friends that were there, that lost folks there, or were in the tragedy. I think all of us can speak for that. That's a huge area for camps in the summertime. My own son's been to one of the camps right around the corner there. What they do in those camps is amazing. It's just a horrible tragedy that this happened. It's such, such good people and such a good, foundation that they're building down there with all those young folks. So anything we can do to help out, we'll do it.
No question about that. TDECU Stadium is a drop-off point here until 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, yeah.
Todd Whitting, head baseball coach here at the University of Houston. I'm Nate Griffin, Fox 26 Sports.